Hello, everyone. I'm really amazed that anyone's actually here because I did this last minute, really late. I just fancied having a bit of a stream, having a chat with you guys. Make sure I've got no echoes going on there. That's good. Um, yeah, tonight I just wanted to talk about the legitimisation of paedophilia, so we'll get to that soon. I did set this up in just a few minutes, so if there's anything wrong, just let me know. I just cobbled this whole stream together. Hopefully, you guys saw Graham's stream earlier on today. That was as awesome as ever. And he's now trying to troll me in here. Who's this bald prick? Well, at least I'm not a bicycle riding pederast such as yourself, sir. So let's go easier. I'll tell everyone what a racist you are, as well as about your Instagram collection. You don't want that. Wow. So yeah, a few things to talk about tonight. Main one being the legitimisation of paedophilia that we'll start with, and a little bit about the New York Times as well, and perhaps anti-Semitism. Not too much about it, just a little bit. And then anything else that rattles on until I get bored enough or tired enough that I want to wrap it in and go to bed, or at least go to watch Generation Z, which will be nice enough. Who have we got? We got Paul. Hello, Bob Stew. How you doing, fella? And Graham the Booth. A few cool people and some extra people being very quiet. Do say hello because I'm all on my own and I don't usually do these alone. I'm all on my own, and not being as much of an attention whore as Graham Booth, I perhaps struggle just a little bit. I would like to say, actually, let me just bring this up here because that'll be cool. There we go. Got the Trigger Warning website there. Do go and join us at Trigger Warning. There's all kinds of stuff going on there. You've got forums, which is nice. Old school. We like old school forums. And of course the live room where every time we do a stream, it's in here. We've got an anon-triggerist in there right now. And we've got young Alex. Hello, Alex. Hope you're doing well, sir. And that's over in triggerwarning.tv/live. It's usually cool on a Thursday and things like that. Before we get to the main topics, a couple of changes going to be happening with the whole Trigger Warning project. We're kind of getting a little more into providing daily content. So there's content every single day going out on the YouTube channel, which means we're going to be putting most of our attention into that, which means a couple of things that we are doing now may have to kind of drop away as we let's just drag that over a bit because we're cutting off the chat, aren't we? As we concentrate on just getting more content out for you guys. So there will be some more news of that probably on the site and probably on social. And speaking of social media, do give me a follow if you like, because it makes me feel wanted. Penny, fantastic. Beautiful, thank you, buddy. Give me a follow. It's at Hayden Hewitt on Twitter. And it'll be good to hear from you. And you see all the sort of stuff I follow. And some people said, what do you look at on Twitter? Do you go and do this? Do you go and do that? Do you look at this? What I tend to do is just go in here, bring up Ricky Berwick, and just watch whatever he's been up to.
Oh, what does this do?
That's pretty much what makes me happy. That's pretty much it, and I'm sure it'll make you happy too. Not that you need to apart from us. Shout outs, of course, to Drone Tech Politics on YouTube. Go give him a watch. And I've already shouted out for Graham's Sunday show, but loads of really cool content coming out of that. If you missed the whole live stream, lots and lots of great clips coming up. There's Graham put in there. I can't see what that GIF is from here because I'm just not going to look at that page. I sincerely cannot be bothered looking at it. So I did say what I wanted to start with this evening was the legitimisation of paedophiles. Yes, we're living in a time where apparently we're trying to once again legitimise paedophilia. This isn't something that I go and look for on Twitter. It's not something I hunt for. I don't look for these things. However, it came to my attention that today there were a couple of hashtags that I should look at. I'm sure everyone else knows about it. It's just this old poor shell-shocked old man that didn't know. But it's hashtag map and hashtag no map. Map being a minor attracted person. No map being non-offending minor attracted person. paedophiles. And then I came across this Twitter feed here, virtuous paedophiles, or pedophiles, to use the American spelling. Apparently they're raising awareness and understanding of a difficult or uncomfortable issue is not the same thing as promoting, advocating, or normalizing it. Normalizing it. So they're not normalizing it. They just want you to understand that, in their opinion, it is or in the opinion, I think California might have said the same thing, it is a sexual preference. Despite the fact it's also recognized as a mental illness, it's a sexual preference. And if they don't act on it, they're not doing anything illegal, so they deserve to be recognized. Now, of course, we've seen this kind of thing before with the Paedophile Information Exchange here in the UK. Do look that up. There are now members of Parliament sitting in Parliament now who supported Pi. The idea was that adults and children could have meaningful relationships, sexual relationships, without harm, because it's a beautiful thing. And of course, in America, they had NAMBLA, much more colourful logo. North American Man-Boy Love Association. Love. These attempts at legitimising paedophilia they failed. Pi collapsed. NAMBLA. Nobody wants anything to do with NAMBLA. Okay, we get that. Excuse me. But they've changed tack now to MAP and no MAP. Now, what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to go through some of the Twitter feeds of some of the self-identified maps and no maps that I found. I don't want to start off some kind of half-assed witch hunt here. That's not my intention. What these guys are doing now is saying that they should be a part of the LGBT scene, or perhaps more correctly, the LGBTQ plus scene. Because apparently they fall into the queer plus scene because it is a sexual preference. Now, many members of the LGBT scene are really not wanting this to happen. They don't want to recognise paedophiles as part of their collective, their group, their whole thing. But for obvious reasons, they're paedophiles. But they're saying, but we're not acting on it. So we're resisting the urges, so we just need community and support to help us not act on these things, to support each other and accept that this is a real thing, and all we can do is support each other and stop these paedophiles from offending. Now, from a very liberal, tremendously liberal sense, it makes sense. Okay? They can help. I don't want to leave LGBT up there, because if you leave it up too long, it looks like they're giving a ringing endorsement to this. But in a way, it does make sense. People need communities to offer them support, especially when they've got a sexual preference that's as alarming as paedophilia. Now, remember, from what I've seen, the majority of LGBT people are not terribly keen on having paedophiles as a part of what they do. They don't want to be tarred with that brush. They already have enough problems with people saying that gay men are a step away from paedophiles and trans people. It's already a nightmare for them without actually having paedophiles there. But it's very clever how they're framing this online. It's very, very clever. They're framing it in a very similar way as the trans people are. You know, that you have to accept it. And perhaps not the trans people, I should have said the trans activists. The ones that call lesbians that won't sleep with trans women TERFs and things like that, and they're causing great problems for them. So they're framing it in a way that they're the victims, the paedophiles. I mean, they're non-offending paedophiles. They need the support, they need the love. They're up there, and they're a thing as well. You know, it's not their fault they're paedophiles. It's just their sexuality. Now, one of the reasons, besides the obvious, that no one's very keen on associating with them is, of course, for them to say it's a sexual preference and try and insert themselves into the same narrative as gay people or trans people or bisexual or whatever the fuck else you've got, is that all those other things tend to involve consenting adults. Certainly homosexuality. You know, if you're a gay man, you're attracted to other men. If you're a lesbian, you're attracted to women. Men. Women. Paedophiles, I leave out the trans thing because we're starting to see people pushing kids into the trans thing more, which is, that's a whole different thing I don't want to get into right now. But I'm still not saying it's akin to paedophilia. Paedophiles, the object of their desire is, of course, someone who cannot consent to sex. They can't consent either because they're not legally old enough to consent, or they just don't understand what consent is. They are predators in the truest sense. Now, looking through many of these accounts, I saw one particular famous guy who wrote an article for Salon, and then Salon got rid of him, whatever. I saw a post where he said, we should be allowed to have, shouldn't we be allowed to have child sex dolls? They're an inanimate object. And isn't it amazing that what he said is technically correct? They are an inanimate object. They're not real. It's not a child. But it still fills you with such a wave of revulsion, a wave of absolute fucking horror. Because when he's on that doll, be it a boy or a girl doll, he's not thinking about a doll, is he? He could be thinking about your kid, fantasizing about your child. And some people have seen the allies of the maps and no maps would say, well, it's only a fantasy. I don't want people fantasizing about that. I don't want people fantasizing about that at all. And on many things, I tend to be liberal, but obviously this one, I can't. I can't, because to me there is no virtuous paedophile. There are just paedophiles. I've seen their allies putting up stats that somehow a certain percentage of child sexual abuse is done by paedophiles, the rest isn't. Hate to break it to you guys, anyone that sexually abuses a child is a fucking paedophile. Whether you've got a history of it, a previous predilection, don't care. If you sexually abuse a child, you are a paedophile. There's nothing there. There's nothing virtuous. Are you going to tell me that these guys aren't sat around, a good amount of them, trading info, trading images, trading videos? Now, that Salon guy pointed out, well, it's been shown that people who watch pornography are less likely to act upon their impulses, as if somehow watching child pornography is a victimless crime. Well, I'm just watching porn. I'm not out raping. It's only the same as you guys that watch porn, with one difference. The porn that we tend to watch tends to be consenting adults, often paid adults, unless you're into pure amateur thing. I don't know, whatever tickles your pickle. Child porn requires child sexual abuse to happen to create the pornography. It's not victimless. You're a consumer of an illegal product that destroys lives, and you're encouraging people to produce more of it. Am I really supposed to believe that the vast majority of these people over there, am I really supposed to believe that they don't watch porn, they don't do anything, they just sit at home, keeping it all inside their heads, and just throw one out while they think about your kids at the park once in a while? Is that what I'm supposed to believe? I can't. And I realize that I can't even really be in any way objective on this topic. I simply can't be objective on this topic because it's too difficult. It's way too difficult. And I'm a father. And even if I wasn't, I'd find this way too difficult to comprehend. Whilst I can logically get what they're saying about support groups. On a purely logical level, I can get this. On a logical level, it makes sense. On another level, I just want to know who they are, who they all are. I want to see them all chemically castrated, tagged, chipped, whatever it takes. I want to know where these people are, what these people are doing, how these people are living, and what they're up to. I want to know. I want to know what they're up to. I don't like them just being out there. Just to move solely off the topic of the online aspect. Sorry, the virtuous paedophiles aspect. I didn't go to the website. I'd like to point out that these guys are on Twitter, along with many more maps. There's a whole community on there of non-offending. They're just supporting each other. Yeah, that's all they're doing is supporting each other. We're living in a time where we've got two people, whether you like them or not, whether you agree with them or not, and I certainly don't agree with at least one of them and only agree with some of the things another one says. But we've got Tommy Robinson and Carl Benjamin running for MEPs. We have people running campaign accounts for potential politicians on Twitter, and they're removed and everyone's clapping their hands because it's great that we showed the Nazis something, okay? But we're leaving fucking paedophiles on the platform. I'm used to shit like, if a white supremacist gets kicked off, but Louis Farrakhan's still there. This guy gets kicked on, there's a Hamas supporter there, or there's an Israel supporter that wants to see the Arabs pushed into the sea. Whatever the fuck, I'm used to that kind of inequality. But they're allowing paedophiles to congregate and discuss on their platform whilst kicking off political candidates. So apparently the message that we're getting is that if we don't like you, you're not allowed to have a candidate account, political candidate account on our platform. We reserve the right to remove that. Fair enough. It's their game, their ball. But we're okay with the pedos. We're fine with the pedos. I know some of these accounts have been removed many, many times, but apparently it's not against Twitter's rules. It's not against Twitter's rules just to be a pedophile. I would say if you're going to clear house, clear house. If you're going to clear house, get rid. It just blows my mind that paedophiles are welcome on any platform where there are young people. There are lots of young people on Twitter. There are also organised paedophile groups, virtuous or not. What if one of them just has a bad day? Seriously, what if one of them just has a slightly bad day? What happens then? What do we do? Well, apparently, doesn't matter. Nothing we can do because we have to support them. And there are allies on there that are ferocious paedophile allies. In the comments, I'm seeing lots of things about punishments for paedophiles and stuff like that. Chappie asks, do you think it's okay to dox pedos? No. No, I think it should be dealt with by the authorities. The problem with doxing is you've got to be damn sure. Because when it comes to paedophilia, if you put it out there that someone is a paedophile and you dox them, you run the risk of getting someone killed. And if it turns out, I mean, number one, it's not right to murder them for it anyway. But two, what if it turns out that it's not a paedophile? It's not a paedophile. They're dead. No, I don't think we should be. I don't think we should be doxing anybody. I don't think so. If someone's doing something illegal, tell the authorities. Don't just tell every arsehole on the internet, because there's enough people that turn up at these pedo hunting bullshit things that just want to cause trouble and hurt. So I remember I lived in some flats. I'm going back, 25 years. Maybe 30 years, something like that. And this guy moved in. He had a younger guy living with him. The younger guy was about 19, 20. And the younger guy was always out cleaning the car, and doing jobs on it. And the kids from around the flats would talk to him because he's a young guy, and they'd play in the car. And go on the way, and nothing ever happened. That's the important thing to point out, and nothing ever actually happened. But it turns out the old guy had been a paedophile, because the police turned up to tell parents at the flats that there was an ex-paedophile living. He hadn't offended in Lord knows how many years. Now, fair enough, the parents aren't going to want him there. Can't fault them on that. What she did was phone the newspaper, Manchester Evening News, and within an hour the reporters were there talking to her. That afternoon, it was in the newspaper. Within a couple of hours after that, an entire mob turned up at the flats, hunting them down. An entire mob. There must have been 50, 60, 70 people just pouring in. It was like a bizarre scene. And these flats were predominantly full of old people. And they were being terrorised. This howling mob smashing shit up. And, the police came, they got the guy out of his flat. His car was being smashed as he left and everything else. And even as a young man, I realised that a lot of the people that were there didn't really care. It was just pedo, smash shit up. It's just an excuse. It's just an opportunity to hurt people and feel justified and vindicated in their actions. So no, I don't believe handing it over to mob rule is necessarily an answer. I genuinely don't. I think that does more harm than good. 100%. As a father, I'd kill him. But, luckily my son's never been touched, and long may that continue. But I don't like that. I'm just thinking, J-Raw says in the States we do have a registration letting neighbours know who's living near them. Yeah, but I believe, let me just check which one it is. Now, I saw this. Let's see if I can bring this up. No, I don't think it is Michigan. Oh, here we go. This was from March. Let me just bring the picture up for you here. Michigan sex offender list at risk after lawsuit pushes to end the register. A federal court's decision could indicate the answer is no. It ruled that part of Michigan's Sex Offender Registry Act are unconstitutional. What is coming next has victims of sex offenders and all of their families concerned. So, the Sex Offender Registry in Michigan has gotten bigger over time. When created in 1994, only police could look at it. In 1999, it went public online, and in 2006, lawmakers banned all people on the list from loitering within 1,000 feet of a school. Seems reasonable. Unless it's like the one in this country where you can get placed on it if you just had a piss in public. If only a policeman's seen you, you can still be put up on the register. You do have the sex offender registries and all that, but it looks like they might be coming under threat for being unconstitutional. Ruby T said, if you killed him, who would protect your children when you're in prison? I know, 100% logically agree with you. Logically. If someone touched my child and I had the opportunity to touch them, would I be able to stop myself? Probably not. But that's why the law should never be left up to victims' families and mob rule and things like that, because you wouldn't be able to help yourself. I mean, I'm not a violent man. I've not been in a fight for years. I don't even genuinely get angry very often. And I'm almost disappointed to admit that I probably would kill them if I could. NPC, lots of zeros and one, obviously points out not everyone on the sex offenders register is a pedo. That's correct, but you still probably shouldn't be allowed within 1,000 yards of a school if you've made it onto a sex offenders register. Just a thought. We should be sexually offending people. Alex has said in the trigger warning chat, I'll just bring that up here, if they want to be accepted, meaning the paedophiles, the virtuous paedophiles I expect, then go for full disclosure. Register yourself so we know that you're not going to offend. Then and only then could I begin to accept it. But it shouldn't be celebrated and should never be part of the LGBTQRXYZ plus asterisk 2. Correct. You can't let them be a part of any movement. You can't let them be a part of any movement. You can't let them be involved in anything like that because it just doesn't work. People talking again about the death sentence. I'm not a supporter of the death sentence. I don't think it works in any practical way. People say, well, at least they're gone from the planet, but it takes bloody years, and it's often a cruel and unusual method of punishment, which doesn't make us very good. It doesn't make us good people. But that's logic versus emotion. I'm sure that would change if the situation were different. NPC Loss01 says, put them on an uninhabited island off Scotland. I use that one a lot. I use that. I often say that about jihadists and things like that. You know, we can't put them in prisons. They cause gangs in prisons. Use one of the islands off Scotland. Maybe not one of the anthrax ones. Put them up there. Food, shelter, live your life. They can't swim off to escape because the water's bloody freezing and it'll kill you stone dead. And there you go. There's your life. That's where you are, but no internet connection, none of that shit. Just there you go. Everything you need to survive. There you go. And with paedophiles, I don't know. Can you do that? It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's very hard to separate your emotions in any way, shape, or form from the logic of it. What if they are just, they don't do anything wrong? They are paedophiles, but they don't do anything wrong. The caveman part of my mind's still like, no, chemically castrate them. Put a chip in their skull and everyone knows where they are, you know. It's an incredibly tricky one, isn't it? It's very tricky to deal with. What does alarm me, though, are the allies that mindlessly defending everything on Twitter, and just the fact that they're grouping on Twitter, that they're coming together in groups. I'm sure groups of paedophiles can't be a good thing for anybody, can they? Not really. Ask Jack. Yes. Ask Jack to give a TED talk on it. Why it's okay. I'm sure he will. Trim his beard up, put his beanie on, knock himself out, you know, have a good time, telling people why it's okay. I don't know. Most of the time I don't get too involved in who they ban or don't ban because it's their business. But I can't imagine ever having a platform where I'm so liberal that I would allow clumps of paedophiles. Who the fuck does that? Who the fuck allows that? I don't know, it's just a strange one for me. But do go and search it up. Hashtag MAP, M-A-P, hashtag NoMap. And have a look through it for yourself. And I've had a small debate with a couple of the allies and things. Just, you know, most of them are reasonable. It's interesting to know where they come from on it and what their opinions are. Many I won't engage because nothing good's going to come of it. Nothing good at all would come of that conversation. I'd probably just get another fucking ban for 12 hours or so on Twitter. But do go and check it out. Map, no map. Do some research. Have a look at it and see where you go from there. What we on? 33 minutes. I only wanted to do half an hour. Look at me. I ended up talking about paedophiles for half an hour. Okay, let's just send that one up. There we go. One other little thing I like to talk about, and it might even come up on the podcast or something like that on Tuesday. Just for I do remember, guys, I take it if you're watching this, you're quite familiar with Trigger Warning, but we have the Trigger Warning vodcast. It is now that goes out live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. UK time, 10:30 p.m. UK time. Forgive me. Where myself and Graham basically sit down. We have all the best intentions of talking about topics, and usually end up just talking about our kids and our lives, and then just grumbling and moaning for 2 hours. But do join us. It's always fun. It's always enjoyable. Then every Thursday we have what Graham calls The Big Show, which we do at 10 p.m. UK time. You can watch that on Live Leak, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Trigger Warning, pretty much apparently wherever you'd like. And then we have The Real Sunday View with Graham at 12 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, which is just after the Rich Yellen show, if you're interested. He usually gives Graham a plug as well, because he's a very nice man. A bit Irish, but a very nice man. That's for 12 o'clock on a Sunday. It seems to be a thing now, so that's fantastic, and it's really, really good. And of course, we have content coming out each and every day from clips from those shows. And as we can get more support, we'll add more content. And if you would like to support Trigger Warning, please go to patreon.com/triggerwarningtv. Anything from $1 a month, it all helps. It all goes into the project. And pretty soon, we are going to be accepting Bitcoin. And also, if you use the Brave browser, we've just been verified for Brave. It's a great privacy browser. You can tip through that with basic attention tokens. I don't know, but we'll be using that as well, just to open it up a little and make it a little more secure and peaceful for people that want to donate but don't want to use the likes of PayPal or Patreon or anything like that. Right, one more thing I'd like to talk about before we go. It's something that came to my attention today, and it was this. There we go. It's a cartoon that appeared in the New York Times. As you can see, we have a sausage dog, or a wiener dog, do you call them in America? I'm not sure. But a sausage dog leading a blind Donald Trump. Doubtless, the idea there is that, obviously Israel's leading America around. But there have, of course, been many, many claims of anti-Semitism where this image is concerned. Now, some folks, we just lost the chat box there for whatever reason that I don't actually understand. There it is, it's come back. Now, of course, many people are saying, well, it's not really anti-Semitic, it's just a commentary on Israel and America. And right, so that's what it is. So could someone explain to me why Trump's wearing a yarmulke? I mean, you can talk about Israel leading America around, which is incredibly insulting for Americans, as if any country really leads America around. But if it's not about religion, why did they put that skull cap on Donald Trump's head? Now, the New York Times have apologized, said it shouldn't have happened. But I think this is indicative of something worse. I will be doing a much longer podcast on this in the future. It's too much to get into tonight. But I do genuinely believe that the anti-Semitism of the left is fueling the anti-Semitism of the right and empowering them. And the anti-Semitism of the left is insidious. It's done with love almost. It's about the Palestinian people. We're not anti-Jew. We're just anti-Israel, anti-Zionist. This is a big one. Well, I'm anti-all Zionists, whereas Zionism is just the right for Jews to have their own state. Well, Jews shouldn't have their own state, so why should anyone else have their own state? Why should there be Muslim states and Christian states? So it all gets muddied up. Worst case examples are dragged into all of this, but this cartoon is very insidious because it is about religion. It's not just about the countries. But that overstepping the mark seems okay when it comes to anti-Semitism. It seems accepted because of Israel. Bad. Everyone else good. Israel bad. Israel own America. This appeared in the New York fucking Times. Now, I know they've got form. I know they've got previous form that they denied the Holocaust is happening and wouldn't cover it shit, but that was a long time ago. This shit looks like one of those old 1940 bullshit cartoons, from the 30s rather, the anti-Semitic sort of Nazi propaganda. This is no different. In fact, there was a cartoon. I should have grabbed it. It's just come back to mind here. It was a picture of the globe and a Jew leading Winston Churchill around the globe. Very similar, except in this case the Jew's the dog. And also, who has a sausage dog as a guide dog, for fuck's sake? You know, people are always keen to jump on you when it comes to Israel and Judaism and things like that. Israel does many things that are unpleasant, particularly in the West Bank. Hamas do many things that are unpleasant. Why aren't we screaming about them rewarding the family of a man who went out and murdered a Jewish girl? Because we don't. When Israel does something, it's the actions of the Jews. When the Palestinians do something, it's not the actions of the Muslims. It's just an uprising of the Palestinian people. It's two-sided, and there is anti-Semitism involved. Now, this in no way says the criticism of the Israeli state is anti-Semitic, because that's not true. No government should be beyond criticism. Not one single fucking government in the world should be beyond criticism. But people don't half play favourites with it, don't they? Crikey. It's a good job we all live in countries where our governments don't do terrible things and murder innocent people. Wow, we'd look really silly, wouldn't we? And I do believe this more accepting thing. I mean, look at the Labour Party in the UK. They're about to be investigated for anti-Semitism. It's gone fucking insane here. You got people telling Jews what is and what isn't anti-Semitism, and it's acceptable for the left to do that. Could you imagine them telling a black person that, oh no, you can't find that racist? Or telling a Muslim, no, you can't find that bigoted? But somehow with Jews it's okay because of Israel. Or that Israel have done something they disagree with, therefore this excuses it. And all just the plain Jew haters, let's be honest, jump on the back of it. One proof for this, go to the Daily Storm and read their instructions of how to be a socially acceptable anti-Semite. Ticks all the boxes of the stuff that we see. And all that does is empower the right. And then fucking nutcases from the far right, they're the guys that have the guns, predominantly. They're the guys that have the guns. The far right, I don't mean conservatives. I mean race haters. I mean the full-blown fucking white supremacist lunatics. They're the guys with the guns. And they're further empowered to go on their missions of shooting innocent people, as we have seen just the other day. Because, you know, them Jews is bad. They control the world. They do all these things, so it's okay to shoot up a synagogue full of innocent fucking people. The left encourage this. The left are helping with this. The left are empowering the murderous people on the far right. Simple fact. Doubtless many will watch this video and tell me I'm talking shit, but as regular viewers will know, I don't really fucking care. If you can't give me a decent argument, I'll just put you in the box with all the other fucking idiots. And for those that even, please, the one comment that annoys me is, I suppose you think you're smarter than me. Because obviously, yes. Goes without saying. I'm a fucking genius who's never wrong. Even when I'm wrong. So yeah, that was the New York Times, practicing a little bit of anti-Semitism. Guys, nobody's leaving, but I want to. There's too much hate now, isn't there? There's way too much hate. I've noticed that online over the last few years. It's gotten worse and worse and worse. And I don't just mean the big time race hate stuff. People's attitudes towards each other, the way people treat each other now, it's turned into real life social networking. Everyone's so quick to be annoyed. Everyone's so quick to be angry. Everyone's so quick to be furious. Everyone's fueled by headlines and bullshit. You know, I watched a guy from InfoWars having a go at the mainstream media for telling lies and talking shit. And people were supporting him. And I'm thinking, it's fucking InfoWars. I mean, I know what their recipe is. Something happens, give it a massively hot take. Doesn't matter whether it's factual, truthful, bullshit or whatever. Massive hot take. Get the traffic, crack on. Never apologise. Never go back. That's what's seen Alex Jones in the shit he's in now. Well, it's just a really bizarre world. But But I blame social media for everything as it is, and I don't think I'm going to stop doing that. I need to do another podcast about that at some point, actually, another one of these. There are a lot of problems with the things that we've got right now. Listen, guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me this evening. I genuinely appreciate it. I didn't think anybody was going to stop by this one tonight, so I'm very pleasantly surprised. Thank you. I will do some more of these whenever I've got the time and inclination, and it's possible for me to do so. Well, thank you for spending your time. Remember, go to TriggerWarning.tv. If you'd like to help support it, go to patreon.com/TriggerWarningTV. And give us a follow on Twitter. My Twitter handle's just there. It's at Hayden Hewitt, but also you can follow at Triggered TV. J. Ross says Alex Jones isn't always right, always wrong. No, he's not, but that's their recipe. Yeah, that's how they do it. The big hot take, trust me. That's what they do. Don't have to be wrong all the time. You just have to be wrong at exactly the wrong fucking times. Yeah. But they are what they are, and they're hugely entertaining. Can't take that away from the guy. Yeah, that's me about done. I'm going to knock this on the head. It's gone 12 o'clock late. Thank you again so much. Genuinely thank you for spending your time with me when I'm sure you had other things to be doing. We'll get some clips up of this. Graham and myself will be back Tuesday evening with the Trigger Warning podcast. And I'll pop up with these whenever time allows. Until then, take care, guys. See if I can get my words out. Take care, and I'll speak to you all soon.